Yeah. I'm really bad at starting these things. I'm sorry. I also think I needed to have my mic turned on this OBS. Whoops. As you can tell, I've been very out of practice and got a little bit thrown off my game by the fact that, like, 3 people just didn't remember that we were doing this today.
You're good.
Something I should maybe mention is that, like, you were saying all that exposition stuff and you were cutting out for kind of a lot of it.
Oh.
So if that's going to...
That might be a problem, then.
That does sound like a problem. Typically, in Dungeons & Dragons, one of the most important things that needs to be happening is for the players to be able to hear and understand the DM.
Yeah, that is kind of an important thing. Don't really have anything running on my computer that shouldn't be. But it does keep telling me that we're dropping frames. So, yeah. Has it gotten better over the last few moments? Or am I still cutting out?
No, you seem to be going alright.
Okay. We'll figure out what to do about it if it gets unbearable. Okay, so the last several sessions have been about trying to find these rifts in time that the cult has opened and screwed things up, and finding those and fixing them. And at this point, you and the rest of the guild are fairly certain that you've got most, if not all of them. There's no good way to check. The protectors of Nexus, with whom you have been working on this, have become pretty confident in the fact that most of them are closed up, and they've been doing their investigating and research to find these things just to make sure. And it's been a while since anything new has turned up. You did recently, however, get some news from your good friend Harriet, the crazy person that you met a while back in the literal black market. And she had apparently been undercover with some of the cultists trying to find this information that you all needed, and has reported back that she hasn't found any more rifts, but she did find that there's a branch of the cult in the south that has been up to something by gaining favor with the Southern King. This seems pretty fishy given how the rebellion from the Northern King was orchestrated and encouraged by another branch of the cult. So whatever they're doing down south in Uramel is pretty shady. And
I have a quick question.
Yeah?
You met the Southern...
You might have met the Southern King. You have definitely been to Uramel before. I think it's probably likely that you have been there on diplomatic things.
Oh, I meant, like, during a session, sorry.
But we have not met the Southern King in-game.
Cool.
We have, in fact, only had one session... Ooh, just lost Ashley. You back, Ashley?
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I was just like, oh, we just lost Ashley. So, Yeah, we've only had one session even, like, close to Uramel, and it was the session where you all went to the mines. Yeah. You keeping up on this at all, Blaine? Because it's been a while since you've played.
I am trying.
Yeah. A lot has happened since Pine got back from the Forest of Forests. So, yeah, long story short, cultists decided to fuck up the world, and everyone's been trying to fix it. And now
Nice.
there's trouble in the south, and it may or may not tie directly into the plot that you've all been trying to fix. So, yeah. We're going to open up with you guys having recently arrived in Uramel. We've just gotten into what seems to be the city, and you have directions to go to a tavern called the Schooled Salmon in East Search, because they are people who've worked with the guild in the past, and they're a place where you can sort of set up a home base to begin your investigation.
Cool, so I'm assuming we just kind of go there.
Yeah.
What was the name of the tavern again?
The Schooled Salmon.
Okay.
The city of Uramel is interesting, to say the least. It has a very different flavor than the city of Centauri that you're all used to, and most of the other major towns and cities that you have been to in the past. There isn't a lot of evidence here, like where you are right now, but the city is known for its academic draw because of the First Era ruins that make up a large part of the southernmost part of town. Oh, and gosh, I am so out of practice with this. I'm so sorry. I had notes actually somewhere of like things I wanted you all to know going into this whole thing, and then I thought I found them and didn't, and then I thought I remembered them and didn't. So
The amount of times I run over my own detail notes when talking and like actually DMing is quite embarrassing. There's a lot of fun details I want to talk about in like character dialogue that I just completely look over when I'm like actually trying to improvise somebody's speech.
yeah.
Unfortunate.
I literally just finished my honors project paper yesterday, so like my brain feels like the way that you're talking right now. I'm completely brain dead. It's possible I will not make sense at some point, like later this session. You'll just be listening to me speak and being like, "Are you speaking like English?"
If one of my
That's a
friends didn't
mood.
live in this house with me, I would be completely unintelligible every day.
Okay. The biggest thing that I missed in my brain, trying to just pull the shit right out of it, is that Harriet found out about this southern part of the cult by hearing someone make a careless comment about that stuck-up court mage, and after a little bit more research, she came up with the name Hugo Arnin. So, you know the name of the person that you're specifically looking into to begin with. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that I horribly missed.
Can you repeat the name?
Hugo Arnin. I'll go drop it in our text chat so you can see. Okay, so let's start with, are any of you good with directions? Because the street pattern in this part of town is wild, and it is a little bit hard to navigate.
Like in character?
Yeah.
In character, I think I'd be good. Let's not talk about how bad I am out of character.
You would probably know your way around Old Town better than either of the neighborhoods in the search, which is what they call basically the suburbs outside of Old Town. That's where most people live in the city.
I mean, Howler. I feel like Howler is probably better at navigating by rooftop, which isn't going to do a lot of help here because not everybody wants to get up on the roofs. And I also don't think Howler has ever really been to this city before. Mostly he was in Thaden and then also Centauri, and that's sort of where he has conducted his 18 years of life. So
that is
he's
valid.
probably
I don't think I'd
definitely
be
lost.
opposed to going by roof.
Yeah, well, you're a rogue too, so.
Yeah.
I have a flying elk. I'm good.
So do any of you have like a map or something?
Nope, I don't.
Cool.
Are we just like trying to find our way to like the royal palace or something?
To the inn that Roan told you to go to.
I'm going
Should
to
we just
roll a
ask-
survival check to
ask
see if I
directions?
can find the inn without having to talk to strangers.
Okay.
That's a 21.
Okay.
Howler's getting up on the roof by himself to scope it out.
You scurry up on top of a roof in that way that Howler does. And you start looking around through the streets. There are definitely some people staring at you from the streets. They're like, what the hell is that bird doing? But you are able to pick out off kind of in the middle of East Search, off what seems to be a more major road, rather than the multitude of alleyways that you see spidering off around you. What looks to be a bigger building that you think might be an inn.
Cool, so I'm gonna get off the roof. I'm also like not flying up there. I have my wings kind of poorly concealed under the cloak because they're like wings, so you can't really do that very well. But Howler is trying his best. So yeah, Howler is going to relay that information to everybody else and I guess kind of lead the group in that direction.
Wait, why are we hiding?
I'm hiding my wings because I am a Kenku and I'm not supposed to have those.
Oh, okay.
You
We're all
might
just vibing.
be in actual danger of people questioning you a little too hard about that in this neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly for scientific purpose, but danger nonetheless.
Quick thing.
Hmm?
I don't know Maya or Ashley's character names.
Oh. Yeah, we did kind of forget to do character introductions, so, why don't we do that real quick?
Yeah.
I have, I guess cast this is off Forging Armor somewhere. I have Pascal, which is like just Knight's Shining Armor, Samurai Fighter, that sort of thing. Imagine Pascal is sort of like the white sign soapstone you pick up for the box fight. The mercenary to come slay the big monster, whatever. That sort of thing.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Who wants to go next?
Should I go, since I've had Howler for this entire campaign?
I mean, while we're at character introductions, why not?
Okay, sure. Howler is my child. They're a Kenku thief, and Blaine's character, Pine, has used a wish spell to give Howler the ability to talk, fly, and be creative. So that's why Howler has to be a little bit more cautious about sort of their fashion choices and going in public, which they kind of already were to begin with, but now kind of more so.
All right. Yeah. I'm playing Pine. He's barred. He's great. He's wearing a hoodie. He's got a flying elk. He's sick. Cool ass sword. Yeah.
Howler is indebted to him for basically life, it seems.
And then I'm playing Aradia, who's Drow noble rogue. Wait. Yes.
That sounds right.
I couldn't read my handwriting for a second.
So, is that all you're going to say about your character, Ashley?
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I feel like, yeah, I think she likes everybody in the party right now. I don't think she there's a few people who she didn't like in past like sessions, but I think she likes everybody in this party, so you probably won't have any trouble from me.
Fair. This amuses me that you're like, yeah, I think I like everybody in here. That's threatening. I don't think we have problems out of character, but I can definitely see some problems with certain personalities of Zay.
It depends on how goody two shoes Maya's character is, but like from what was said, I think it's fine.
Yeah. So, that's our party today. Got 2 rogues, a bard, and a fighter. It'll be fun. So Howler is leading the group through these streets, kind of telling everyone where he thinks the inn is. It takes you a little while to find your way there. You made a couple wrong turns along the way, got down an alleyway, and went, wait a minute, this isn't right. But you do eventually manage to find your way to the inn that Howler saw. You do see over the door a sign with a salmon painted on it. And it's pretty safe to assume that this is what you're looking for.
Okay, Howler walks in and sees where he can order a salmon, because that sounds pretty fucking good right now, not gonna lie.
Okay.
Who are
So,
we looking for? Again? Who
you're
are we
looking.
here?
You are looking in here for the tavern owners because they have relations with the Adventurers Guild. So Roan told you that this was a good place to set up, sort of.
Oh,
home,
okay. I
home
thought we were
base.
meeting right here. Okay, that makes sense.
No.
I'm so sorry.
And you're here to investigate Hugo Arnin, the court mage, and find
Right.
out what he and the cult are up to, and put a stop to it. About as useful directions as Perry the Platypus might get. I assure you, it's far more sinister than anything Doofenshmirtz could dream up.
That sounds like a great villain to have, though, in a campaign. A different smirk type.
I mean, yeah, it would be. And we might get there eventually. But not for this arc. Okay, so Howler's going in.
Is there a place for me to tie up my elk outside? For, like,
Yeah,
horses or something?
there seems to be a stable area around the side of the building. There are a startling number of horses in there, but there's plenty of space for you to tie up your elk, and I don't know what elks need care-wise. I didn't ever put any thought into that. Huh.
Yeah, what kind of elk is it? Is it just like a normal elk that can fly, or does it have like
It's got
some
wings.
cool?
Think like a Pegasus, but if it was an elk.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been
Where'd you
picturing,
get one of those?
what is his name? Legolas's dad's moose thing.
Oh yeah.
I
Random
love
elk.
that.
Yeah, I like to think he looks like the guy from Princess Mononoke. That elk.
Like forest.
You guys are just saying movies I haven't seen.
See, I have seen that one, and I don't remember what you're talking about, but okay.
It's like
I
it's
know
like
what
his
it is,
best
but I've never
bud.
seen it.
It has like a labyrinth of antlers coming out of its head.
I watched that one at the beginning of quarantine here, so it's gone.
Yeah, dude, Yakul. Yakul's sick. Anyways, it doesn't really matter what he gets because he's technically like a spirit thing.
I see. But yeah, it seems like a nice enough place to tie up your noble summoned steed. Inside is big tavern floor. This place was like 4 stories tall, and is definitely the biggest building in this area. The buildings here do tend to average taller than in a lot of other towns. That's just a thing that you all notice about the architecture. I don't know. I get way too excited about imagining the first era architecture, and I'm sorry if I just like get off on a tangent about it, because I like
You're
it.
good. We've been on like 4 tangents so far tonight. I feel like we're just gonna keep going. So
Quite probably.
it doesn't really matter what the tangent's about. It's gonna happen. Might as well be something the DM enjoys.
So as you come inside, the place gives off the impression of being kind of dirty, but as you look, you notice that there isn't a speck of dust anywhere. It's really well kept, but somehow gives off the impression that it's not. Everyone seems to be having a good time. There is a bard from the college sitting in a corner playing to a pretty appreciative crowd. It is startlingly busy for the middle of the day that it is when you arrive here. There's somebody bustling around behind the counter, and they seem to fit the description that Roan gave you of the person to look for.
Okay. I'm gonna look like a basic elf, not like an Eldrin. So
Okay.
I'm not like super sticking out in the crowd.
Okay.
Did Roan give us a name or just a description?
She probably gave you a name as well. Their name is Ulta Tiamis. I will go put that in chat as well. I can spell. They're a 20-something looking tiefling and have not quite, like, acknowledged you. They glanced up and gave you a nod when you came in, but they're in the middle of something, so they didn't really go out of their way to talk to you yet. Other people didn't pay you any mind either, so I don't know what you all want to do as you enter this place, but that is the scene.
I was just gonna go up to the bar and ask if their name is the Ulta Tiamis.
Okay. They glance at you and go, "Oh, yeah, you're from the Adventurers Guild, aren't you? I'll be with you in a moment." And they kind of hurry off to finish up whatever it is they were doing. Someone else comes up and says, if you're waiting on my sister, do you want a drink? Can get you something.
Yes.
Where are the rest of you in this room?
I guess Howler is probably up at the bar too.
Okay. Looking to see if there's any hope of getting a salmon.
Yeah. Howler does ask for a drink and a salmon.
Okay. This younger girl who looks like Ulta says, "Yeah, I'll get you guys something right away," and comes back with a couple of drinks, finds a salmon for Howler, and says, "This what you were looking for?" and just sets it on the table.
Howler is delighted.
Good.
What kind of drink is brought out?
It's a nice ale that they seem to have brewed here.
Okay. Is it good?
It's very good.
Okay.
You can tell why this place is popular even in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah. Do you think if Howler has this, I will need to make a con save, or is it just like a light soda?
It's
like
not.
A starter.
You're not trying to get drunk, so I'm not going to make you do con saves. You're just having a drink. Does that make sense?
That's fair. Yep.
I also think it seems silly to have everyone make con saves every time they take a drink in a world where alcohol is probably more common to drink than, most else. I don't know. I feel like people have a tolerance to it. Anyway,
I'm gonna inquire about if they have any wine.
The girl who served you has come up and is like, we might have some wine downstairs. We don't, go out of our way for wine around here very often. I can go look for you if you'd like.
That would be nice.
Okay. She scurries off downstairs and starts looking around. While she is gone, Ulta comes back and leans over the counter, puts her elbows down, just is like, "So, I have no idea what you all came for, but what can I help you with?"
It seems Ashley is having
Yeah.
audio problems, so maybe we should
How about-
deal with that.
I think I just heard you.
Okay, cool.
Yep, you're
Not you.
back. Cool.
Yeah, I didn't hear anybody for a solid 5 minutes.
Oof.
Maybe not 5. I don't know. The last thing I heard is, what do you guys want to do?
Howler got a salmon. Pine asked for some wine, and now we're talking to Ulta.
Okay, cool.
So Ulta has just come up to you and is like, so I have no idea what you guys are looking for, but I have some gossip, so how can I help? What's going on?
You know a guy named Hugo Arnin?
Oh, I've heard the name. Good luck
What you got
finding
on
him,
him?
though. He sort of rose to power just out of nowhere. It was about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5. I don't know. Hard to keep track of these things. But it was after the cataclysm happened in the forum. Have you guys heard about that? Great chasm just opened up out of nowhere.
Howler shakes his head no. Have not heard about that one.
Huh. Swallowed some people whole, I heard. Well, definitely some people disappeared in it. Yeah, it was not a great 3 days. They're still kind of rebuilding in the forum in some places. A lot of the first era buildings that people were, using kind of crumbled a bit when the foundations were shaken. But yeah, no, the king's daughter actually was one of the people who disappeared, and this guy Arnin just out of nowhere popped right in, said, "I might be able to find your daughter," and he's really had the king in his pocket since then. No one trusts him, except the king. She's head over heels for his magic work, I guess.
Is this one of those worlds where king is just the title?
Yeah,
I love.
I think king should be a non-gendered title. So it is.
Does anybody know what he looks like?
I mean, yeah, he's been seen around. He's, really a pretty unremarkable looking human guy. I don't know, dark hair. Last I saw, he had a beard. Might be gone now. Who knows? But if you're just, looking for him, you aren't gonna just waltz into the castle and find him. I mean, even if you can get into the castle, which you might be able to, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm going out for a walk. Sorry, love my mom just knocking on my door and talking at me. What was I saying?
You were
Something
saying
about
it's
how you
possible for
can't
us to
find
get
the
in
guy
there.
that easy.
Yeah. Okay. So even if you can just walk into the castle, I wouldn't recommend trying that. You might. Give me a
I
moment.
hope you realize I was gonna suggest that after we had this conversation.
Just
So this is
walking into the
really funny.
castle.
I mean, it could technically be diplomatic for me, so like...
Yeah, and I thought of that, so... Hence why I'm saying, well, you might be able to just walk in, but...
I'm getting predictable.
It's not that far out of guesswork to assume that somebody with a noble background and a penchant for using it as a way to get into places they shouldn't be in might try to use it to get into a place she shouldn't be in.
Quit using logic.
Sorry, what else am I supposed to do when I'm just sitting inside all day? I mean, yeah, there is definitely a lot of that, but... Yeah, so... Ulta, like, leans back a little bit and starts thinking, and they're like, you know, I did hear... Might have been... No, the source was reputable. I did hear that, Hugo Arnin used to be part of a, well, one of those wizard schools that meets in Old Town. It's the Conjurists, I think. Yeah, the Conjurists. They meet up in the mornings, in that garden outside of the, amphitheater. You might be able to talk to them and find out something more.
Howard nods.
Okay.
I think that means we're gonna need some rooms.
Oh, yeah. Roan told me about that. Here, and she they pull up some keys and say, I keep some reserved for guild members all the time, so they're up on the 4th floor. Numbers are on the keys.
Thanks.
No problem. And they bustle off to continue doing their other, jobs as the young innkeep. So now, you have some information, you have a place to look, a time to look for it, and you have the whole rest of the day to do things.
I think that the court wizard is part of the cult.
I mean, that was the implication.
Yeah. Got him.
Is there anything else we need to look for, or are we solely looking for information on this person?
Right now, all you have to go on is this person, so, that is the only thing that you're explicitly looking for right now. Doesn't mean there aren't other ways of going about finding out about the cult in this area, but, that's the one I've given you a plot hook for.
Then I think if nobody else wants to do anything, I'm just gonna wander around town listening to people's conversation and listening for information.
Okay.
Howler's probably gonna go scope out this garden place that we're supposed to be going to tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm gonna hang out in the inn, drink. Maybe I hear something. Maybe I don't.
Okay.
See if there is anyone or not. Yeah.
What did you want to do, Maya?
Probably like train if there's a good open field to do that in.
You didn't see anywhere particularly given to that in East Search, but you do hear that there are some places in Old Town that might be conducive to that.
Cool. I would just head to something like that.
Okay. I guess it's kind of common knowledge. There's a like gladiatorial arena in Uramel in Old Town.
Oh no. I just remember the last time we had a session with the gladiatorial arena.
See, you're the one who gave me the idea to put this thing in here, so
Oh boy.
yeah.
I don't want to start on tangent, but like Pascal will be eyeing that maybe later.
Okay.
We go for evening.
Do you guys hear my cat?
No.
Okay.
I would love to
She's
hear the
decided
cat,
to
though.
yell.
Sometimes we hear Sid's cat over voice chat, and I love it.
She hasn't pounded her way into my room yet, but I'm sure she will by the time this session ends.
I am hoping for a Riley appearance.
Riley cameo.
Okay, so Pascal and Howler are both headed toward Old Town for the moment. Radio is going to wander, and Pine is gonna.
I'm probably going the opposite direction of them, because if they start making a fuss, I'll just be able to hear it.
Okay. And Pine's gonna just hang out here and keep an ear out, yeah?
Yep, and get wasted.
Cool.
Ethan, go away.
Ulta's sister does come back with some wine, so you are all set for that. She's like, I found some. It was like a good 15 minutes. She seems very excited that she dug some up. She's like, I have no idea how good this is, but you're welcome to it.
Alright, how much for the bottle?
Sorry, brain not good at prices. I know there are prices somewhere.
Just making an obscene amount off the top of your head.
An obscene amount. I could, because everyone has an obscene amount of money. But, I read a thing once about how to price things off the top of your head in D&D, and it did not stick, and I'm very sad. I was like, oh wow, that makes so much sense, and then I just forgot about it.
Blaine, is it you or Daniel that has that weird ring? Is that even in this campaign?
Oh, that was Daniel's character.
Okay.
Valis has the Ring of Peerless Destruction, based off of the thing that I found in Skyrim. I found the prices. She's like, it's 1 gold piece for the whole bottle.
Okay, hand her 5.
Wow, thanks.
Yep.
And she also goes back about her activity.
This might ruin your day, but can I just is it possible for me to just bribe somebody?
For
About,
what purpose?
for information of Hugo or the cult?
I mean, you could try.
I am willing to try. I have so much money.
Okay. We'll get back to that in a minute so I can have some time to think through how that might play out. Pascal and Howler head toward Old Town, because that is where both the amphitheater and the gladiatorial fields are. As you enter the gate, you find that the gate itself is a remnant of a wall, and from the first era, and there's a sign posted next to it that says, "No horses except on business." So
I'm glad we're not horses then.
there are 2 guards posted at the gate, but they seem to be more for decoration than, like, actual guarding of the gate. And where all of the streets in East Search were compact and twisting, there's a lot of more sort of open space here in Old Town. A lot of the buildings are crammed right up against the streets, but you can see sort of through some open archways and the ground floor. Inside the blocks is just like open lawns. You make your way into the forum and see these great chasms that Ulta was talking about, and it will be in the forum that you part ways to go to the different landmarks. You can see the gladiatorial arena from the forum. It stands significantly higher than most of the other buildings. The only 2 other structures that stand out like that are the church, the cathedral that's currently used as a church of Daria, and the castle. And they are at opposite ends of the forum. You came in the center. I had a map somewhere, but I'm not entirely sure how to, like, pull it up effectively. Not gonna lie. This is a shame. So yeah, Pascal starts heading off toward the arena. Howler, you're at a little bit more of a loss on where the amphitheater and gardens might be.
Well, I'm gonna do exactly what I did last time. I didn't know where shit was.
Alrighty.
Gonna go up on the rooftops. Ooh, that time I rolled a 23. I just rolled, it was a nat 20. You'll love to see it.
Okay.
I can't wait till I, like, eat shit on my actual, like, fight rolls later on. I did so good on, like, the, like, map without a map rolls.
Yeah, this will be very entertaining. It'll come back.
Like 3 nat 1s in a row.
Yeah.
It always does.
Okay, so there aren't too many people around to stare at you this time. Like, there are a fair few people in the forum. It seems to be beyond, like, super active business hours. So there aren't, like, carts or anything, but there are some more permanent places that are open for business at the moment. And some of the bored shopkeepers just kind of stare at you as you get up to a roof and start looking out over the city. There are a fair few sort of open places, but you do think you see just off near the castle, just beyond it, the amphitheater. It really does stand out from this vantage point, but you could not see it from the ground.
Can I get over there by rooftop, or do I have to climb back down?
You are on the wrong side of the forum to do that effectively, so you'll probably have to get back down.
Okay, well, I'll just go over there then.
Okay. As you're crossing the, middle of the forum, you get a glimpse down into these chasms, and there seem to be, 2 major cracks that opened up and a few smaller ones, and they've put up railings along most of them just because there's no way to fix that. And there's also a part of one of them that has been sort of excavated to some extent, where people were trying to get to the bottom in an archaeological type dig. Yeah, those are indeed very deep. And you kind of skirt your way around some of them to get to the other end of the forum and down the streets. And as soon as you, get beyond that row of buildings that's kind of crushed against the forum, you see exactly where you need to be. It's this lovely garden on the side of the amphitheater. There's one big tree and several benches at its base and lots of well-tended plants. There's one couple here just enjoying the afternoon, and it is otherwise empty at the moment.
Cool. So whenever we come down here to, spy on those wizards, Howler is definitely going to be in that tree. Probably. Cool. That's a pretty good vantage point for that.
It does look to be a very good climbing tree. It's kind of tall, so it's kind of hard to get into to begin with, but probably not for Howler.
Yeah, no.
But it's got these big, thick, branches that, just big, thick limbs that you could totally just climb up on and disappear into.
Great. Looking around the area, do I see anywhere that, I think a group of people is most likely to meet at, and where would be the best place to enter this, I guess, courtyard area without, the furthest place away from that location?
This garden is kind of hemmed in by, the walls around the castle grounds and the amphitheater itself. So it's kind of a stolen space, if that makes sense, where it's kind of, somebody has claimed this spot between the 2 landmarks for a garden. So the only good way in is at the front, which is just an open area, and the tree stands at its center. The benches around, at the base of it, facing the street, are probably the most likely place for people to meet up.
Cool. Alright, I'm going to go up to that couple that's sitting around and ask them about the group, just to see if they know anything.
Okay.
Alright. So, Howler says, excuse me, do you know anything about a group of wizards that meet here for, I guess, a club or something?
They're oh, the Conjurists?
Yes. I was interested in meeting with them.
Oh yeah, they just meet up here every morning. You know, not terribly early, but they're usually gone by the time the market closes in the forum. I'm not entirely sure what they do. They meet up and conjure things, I guess. Mostly harmless, but also kind of weird.
I see. Thank you that was very helpful for me.
Of course.
And Howler sets back to the inn, because that's pretty much all the information they need to know.
Okay. At the gladiatorial arena, Pascal finds that there are other people out in the grassy area around where they live, and the arena itself, just practicing with various weapons. And a few of them give you a side eye, like, what are you doing here? But most of them just carry on with their business.
Yeah, I'll mind my own business. If anybody asks impertinent questions, I guess I'll just ask them if they would care to be a sparring partner, and leave it at that.
Okay. You do probably end up with a sparring partner by the end of the afternoon here. There's only so much ignoring that these people can do before they're like, gotta fight somebody. Yeah, gonna be honest, I haven't put a lot of thought into the gladiatorial arena. I put some thought into it, but I was also listening to Myths and Legends at the time, so every time I think about it, I just think about Achilles dragging Hector around Troy, and this is not productive to anything. So yeah. It's a very nice afternoon for some practice on the nice field. You have a good view of the sea from here. Out in the distance, you can see the Dragon Islands. You don't know much about the Dragon Islands other than that they're called the Dragon Islands because there are dragons on them. You also watch as some ships sail past. They're all relatively small vessels, stick near the coast. But it makes for a nice change of scenery for practicing. There aren't many places like this in the States.
Yeah.
Your mic seems to be having trouble, Maya.
What?
Your mic seems to be having trouble. Sometimes I just hear stray syllables and nothing else.
It's probably because I'm saying stray syllables and nothing else.
Valid. So, yeah. Aradia, you were looking for somebody to sort of bribe for information.
I was considering the possibility because I have 200 platinum pieces and almost 200 gold pieces, so at this point I'm kind of considering just seeing if I can bribe the whole cult to chill out. But
that would be wild.
Currently, I'm just hanging out at the shady part of town, seeing if I can get any dirt on anybody from the Conjurists or the Hugo guy himself, and also seeing if there's any name comes up of somebody who I might be able to bribe.
Okay. It didn't take long for you to figure out that the shadiest part of town is Westport. There are 2 ports in this city. They're very creative with their naming. They have West Search and East Search, and on the edges of those they have Westport and Eastport. Eastport is much cleaner and smaller than Westport, so you make your way there. And after kind of just wandering around and keeping an ear out for a bit, you figure out that there is a seedy little bar that might be associated with the Thieves Guild. And if anywhere is going to be a good place for information and figuring out who's good to bribe, it's probably there. And besides that, you don't really want to step on the toes of the other thieves and assassins and, you know, people you're supposed to be theoretically getting along with in this city.
Then I enter and ask for the hardest drink they have.
Okay. They immediately recognize that you're one of them. There's no particularly, like, noticeable way to tell this, but they all take one look and are like, yeah, that's one of us. And carry on with minding their own business, talking in hushed voices. This bar, unlike the Schooled Salmon, is actually grimy, like, everywhere. There's hardly any light filtering in from the windows. They've been papered over, and the dust and grease and smoke residue from the fire has just built up over what you suspect to be years. And the person behind the bar merely grunts as he slams down a drink in front of you and says, 2 silver.
Alright. I'm considering this is the hardest drink, I'm going to assume it's sort of like rubbing alcohol at this point.
Oh yeah,
And
it smells awful.
Put a little bit on a handkerchief to, like, clean off the stool.
Okay.
I sit down.
The guy behind the bar kind of gives you a side eye like, what the fuck are you doing? But then goes back to minding his own business and scrubbing the same part of the bar that he was scrubbing when you came in. It's the only clean thing in this room.
Besides my stool.
I mean, yeah, since you just cleaned that, but yeah.
Then I'm gonna ask. Shoot, I don't even know what to ask. I'm gonna ask if he's heard anything about this group called the Conjurists.
He gives you that same suspicious side eye again and goes,
I put a gold coin down.
He just takes it. It disappears under the counter. And he's like, yeah, I've heard of them. What do you want to know? And he just stares at you intensely. He stopped scrubbing the bar, but his hand still rests on the rag that he was using as he just stares.
You got any dirt on them?
Not much dirt to be had on them. They're a little weird. People distrust them. Heard they conjured something up that was distasteful to the people in town. Don't know what it was.
I put another gold coin down.
It disappears, and he's like, heard they were experimenting with time or something a while back, but, I don't know. These things that they conjured seem to have come out of nowhere. Just, that's kind of the idea of conjuring, isn't it? They came out of somewhere other than our world, if that makes sense. Been seeing lots of weird vultures around Forum lately, or heard about it. I don't live here much.
What about a guy named Hugo Arnin. You got any dirt on him? And I put 3 gold coins down.
The 3 gold coins also disappear intensely fast. It's like, someone with your kind of money be asking about that. He's the court mage. You could find that out anywhere. But heard he was the one.
Yeah, but ask for dirt on him.
Oh, heard he was the one who was messing with time. Had a real falling out with the Conjurists over it. Got caught up in some cult or something after.
You know what? Anybody from the Conjurists? Or wait. You know who he was falling out with? Any names?
Sandro Goth. The leader. Heard he was the one that was really against it.
You think of anything else I need to know about this town? And I put 3 more down.
He takes it and he's like, stay out of the docks if you know what's good for you. Stay away from the wizard schools if you don't. But I don't know. Just don't get caught up in whatever made that forum collapse 2 years ago. We still don't know what did it. Could be dangerous.
Alright, thanks. And then I leave.
He's like, wait a minute. Did hear when those things collapsed, someone from your guild up in Centauri was caught up in it. Don't know who it was, though. Covered their tracks very well.
Can you tell me anything else about that?
That's all I know. Whoever it was
Alright,
covered
then.
their tracks.
Alright then. And then I leave.
Okay. So yeah, that's the seedy bar in Westport. You do find that everything is... People look at you distrustfully in this neighborhood, and yeah. So Pine is still in the schooled salmon. Ulta and their sister are mostly just kind of letting you have your space, checking in every so often to see if you need anything else. What kind of, I guess, awareness or involvement with the Bard College do you think Pine has? I don't think we've ever really talked about it.
Maybe like a decent bit, because that's probably one of the first places he would have gone after coming out of the Feywild.
Yeah, probably. So you might have a fair amount of involvement, if not actively, then at least in the past. You don't know either of the 2 bards who are in this room. You do spot, after being in here for a while, second one, who is not performing at the moment. But you do recognize they are wearing these little bronze badges of the Bard's College, and gosh, the Bard's College seems like the sort of thing that I've put a lot of thought into over the years and have literally never used for anything. So, yeah. You know that there are 3 levels of bards. They're the bronze, silver, gold, and there's a group of like gold level bards who decide who moves up ranks and when. Actually haven't put a ton of thought into how that would like role play out. I mechanically worked it out at one point and haven't paid a lot of attention to it since, because I did that like 3 years ago. So, yeah, but you recognize that these are bards who have proven themselves to be actively involved in the Bards College and have gotten to the point where they have sort of performance rights to go and work elsewhere in the States with the blessing of the college, basically.
Okay.
You don't overhear anything particularly useful, just like naturally by listening, but some of the other bards do seem to be like looking at you, kind of recognizing that you've been involved in the college in the past and kind of curious about who you are specifically, but that none of them go out of their way to interact with you.
Okay. You said there's 2 of them in here?
Yeah. There's one who is actively performing and one who's sitting off at a table, like off to the side. They have a instrument leaning against the wall.
Yeah, I'll get 2 drinks from the bar, then walk one over there to him.
Okay. He looks up and is like, "Fellow bard, eh?
How's it going?
Fellow drunk, eh?
Yep.
Haven't had much yet tonight myself, but it's because I'm on and, like, he checks a watch that he's wearing and he's like, hour and a half? Find it's best not to perform while intoxicated."
Is there a... And then, yeah, I'll ask him, like, how long you been here?
He's like, "Oh, almost a year now. Came down little less than a year ago. Got my bronze and decided that was all I needed for the moment, and decided to come down here and, well, I heard good things about this inn, so I decided that this was probably a good place to start with performing."
Been serving you well?
Yeah, pays well. Crowds are usually pretty appreciative. I always think a tavern's better with some good ambient music going on. And it's even better because there are 2 of us, so I don't have to work every night.
That's a pretty good setup.
It is. What brought you down here today? Haven't seen you around before.
With the Adventurers Guild, out on a quest.
Oh, that's exciting. I dreamt about being an adventurer as a kid. Then I decided that I should probably do something a little more stable, like being a bard. Some of the perks of the thing, but little less monsters trying to kill you around every corner, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of got into it by accident.
Really?
Yeah, but here I am.
Well, it sounds exciting. Anything
Alright.
worth making an epic out of?
I'm working on something.
Can't wait to hear it one day.
Mm-hmm. What's your name?
Shit. Dude.
The classic name ask.
No one ever asks about my NPCs' names unless they're like pivotal characters, and then every so often. This is what the name lists in Xanathars are for. His name is now Palace.
All right.
He says, "Oh, I'm Palace. Bronze, as you can see." And he just, like, points to the badge that he's wearing.
Nice to meet you. I'm Pied.
Nice to meet you, Pine.
So, I have some questions.
Yeah? I might have some answers.
You said you've been here a year, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I think we can maybe... You got some information? I can maybe cut you in on an epic.
Ooh, I'm listening.
So, we're here to investigate this Hugo Arnin guy.
Oh, I've heard the name.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people...
Oh, definitely.
You know anything about where he hangs or like...
Well, rumor has it that he hardly ever leaves the palace, and even when he does, it's usually in the company of the king. I don't know, honestly. He must have some project or something going on in there. I mean, she did kind of take him on in the hopes of having him find at least the fate of her daughter. She totally lost it. Of course, wasn't here for all that, but...
Wait, is the daughter still missing?
Yeah. Disappeared
Ooh.
2 years ago.
Oh.
He said that he might have some answer as to, or some way to find out what happened to her, I guess. And, basically just disappeared into the castle.
Seems fishy to me.
Oh, definitely.
And what about these, like, conjure guy?
The Conjurists?
Yeah, already, like, was, like, friends or something?
He was, one of the Conjurists, I've heard, but I don't know. From what I have seen of them, it's just a whole lot of bullshit, if you ask me. They say they're inventing new spells or something, or trying to improve on what conjuration magic already exists, but I haven't seen anything particularly useful out of that since then.
So there's, like, this, like, club that just, like, oh, we're cool, we promise, guys, but, like, they're kind of bad.
I mean, basically. They imagine themselves to be some sort of organization like the Bards Colleges, but they just, like, meet up in a park every day. And there are a ton of wizard schools around here that do the same sort of thing. I guess they have their own sort of renown within the city, but I don't know how anybody takes them seriously outside of here. No one takes them seriously in here.
Damn.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go into being a wizard.
Yeah, seems too much book.
It's too much bookwork when there are no books.
True. True.
You know, we have a library. It's a thing called a library in the Bards College. I think you have one in the Adventurers Guild too. And these wizards who seem to be studying out of these sorts of spell books don't have a library.
Kinda dumb.
Right?
Okay, so get this, and then I'll begin like telling him. I'll tell him about the hag.
Okay.
That's the story I'll tell him. I'll tell him about like the hag that we met in like the woods.
Please
And how
tell me
she,
you
like-
give him the detail about Damokos just swallowing the hag eye.
Yep, everything.
Good. He makes an appropriately disgusted and amazed face at that bit.
Right?
Yeah! That guy sounds batshit.
Yeah, but he's pretty cool.
That's good. Batshit people can be cool, for sure. I mean, half the bards in the college are batshit. He just gets this, like, distant look as he recalls some sort of distant horror.
Yeah, that's probably all I'll do with him. Maybe hang out, drink with him until he has to go on,
Okay.
and then I may like throw up the hood of the hoodie, go invisible, and just listen.
Okay. It is beginning to get later in the day. Is there anything else that you all want to do before you sort of regroup and go to bed for the night and, you know, normal bullshit?
Maybe make a game plan for what we're going to do tomorrow. I
Okay.
guess vis-a-vis Conjurists.
I thought when you were talking, you meant that the guy found the princess. So I didn't realize she was missing. until
No,
you
she is
said
still
that.
missing.
Okay, so I'm assuming that we all, like, pool the information we got, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and is there
Alright.
anything that you guys need me to clarify out of character about all of the plot things?
I don't think so on my end. So I guess, like, my interpretation of this is the Conjurists probably are not that good, so we might need to jump them. Howler will be hiding in the tree when they show up. We might want to, like, get set up for some sort of ambush pretty early in the morning.
Okay.
Wait, I got the impression that they were
Yeah, I
just
don't know
kind
if
of
they're bad.
failed.
They just suck at what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm kind of suspicious of them, because, like, from what Aradia heard at the bar, like, they summoned something that people didn't really like, and also our court wizard friend was with them before he kind of had a falling out with them, which
Yeah, because
could
he was
really go either way.
doing timey-wimey shit, and they didn't like the timey-wimey shit, so they said, get out.
Blaine, hang up.
Hang up, what? What am I doing?
Nothing. It's fine.
So what are you planning to do when you get to the park in the morning?
I think a couple of us could probably try to talk to them, and then a couple of us could maybe hide in case we do need to ambush them.
Would it be interesting to okay, because, like, I kind of want to put Howler up in that tree, because Howler has not had an opportunity to climb a lot of trees in the campaign so far, and I would like him to have one. But also, if they're, like, wizards and shit, wouldn't they be, like, really interested in Howler's sort of, like, wing situation? And we might be able to use that to, like, get some information out of him about the court wizard guy.
They could quite possibly be interested in that.
Yeah. I'm very
feel
much with the how to disguise, making it so that way my sword does not stick out at all. Looks like a plain old rusty sword.
Okay.
So I guess what's sort of like a game plan? Should Howler go in to like try to maybe bribe them with whatever his situation is, or should we like try a different route?
Yeah, if we're trying to get like information out of them, that may be the best way to go about it. And it may not be too hard because they don't seem to like Hugo anymore.
Okay, I think then that should be fine. Howler is willing to do that, especially if it's like morning and a lot of people aren't going to be there.
We just lost Ashley again. I don't think we can hear you, Ashley.
Can you now?
Yep.
Cool. Apparently I'm gonna have to periodically hang up and call again.
That is incredibly inconvenient and on brand for Discord.
What was the last thing we heard?
Everyone was trying to make a plan.
I think sort of we've got like the Howler plan, so why don't we just go with that and see how it goes?
Wait, so are we all hiding up in the tree with you?
No, I'm going to go in
That'd
and
be funny, though.
because I have like wings and can talk and I'm not like a normal Kenku, I was going to try and like bribe them with like, ooh, I'll let you like, I don't fucking know, do wizard shit for maybe like 10 minutes. Howler is not comfortable with being prodded at all, but like maybe if we ask them information about like maybe if we start by asking information about Hugo before I like reveal that I'm like maybe something worth researching, just to see how willing they are to talk before we like show our hand.
Yeah, because I feel like if their leader had a falling out for him, they'd be very willing to talk.
Yeah.
To like gossip about him. That sounds good. I feel like in the background we might also want to figure out what happened to the princess in case we need like leverage, but I don't think that's gonna apply in this little meeting. Just to like have that out there.
So is that your whole plan then?
Yep.
I mean, we could try to learn about the princess. We'd need like 450 gold pieces of materials, but I have a spell that we could attempt.
What spell?
I have that much gold. If we
Legend,
need that
I have
later on.
legend lore, so.
Oh, fuck,
So-
I forgot about that one.
So that is an option.
I mean, you
one
certainly have the
one
resources as a party if you choose to go that route.
I feel like that's a slightly later plan though.
Yeah, like that'd be like the contingency plan. Like if shit goes south, we have that.
Or even something we should probably figure out before we try to confront Hugo or whatever.
Find it out before?
Before we try to confront the Hugo Arnin guy, just in case he's involved with it.
My guess it probably is.
Yeah.
Legend lore
Like,
might
if we
be a
can
long
prove that-
shot, just gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said it's possible, but
In any case, we have tomorrow figured out.
Okay. So...
Wait, is Pascal here? What's happening with him?
I'm imagining if you're having a session. Imagine since I'm the fighter, I'll just go like wherever we expect there to be a fight the most.
Yeah.
Watch people's backs.
Okay, so the four of you are headed toward the garden in Old Town. You're heading there pretty early in the morning so Howler can, like, hide, or are you just, like, marching in?
I mean, if we're just, like, because I was originally going to hide so that I could, like, jump them, but I don't really see much of a point in doing that now.
Fair.
You can still climb the tree just because.
You definitely
That's fair.
could. Okay, so you all approach the garden. As soon as it's in sight, you see there are 10 to 15 people kind of milling around. Several of them are sitting at these benches, sort of chatting with one another. They all seem to be doing various things that have to do with casting spells. Some of them are inscribing in spell books, some of them are just talking about magic, and a few others are, in fact, trying to cast spells. There are a lot of people out in the morning. This is, like, the height of activity during the day. People are getting up, coming into the forum, doing their business in Old Town, and there's no one else in the garden except these people, but there are a significant number of people on the street as you approach. So they don't really pick you out until you walk up to them.
Who are we walking up? Just the group in general?
I was imagining just the group in general.
Oh.
I mean, you can walk up to one in particular, but they're milling around, so...
No, that's fine. For some reason, I was thinking that we were already in the middle of them, which is a weird thing to think when you're like, oh, you walk up to them.
Yeah.
Like I said, my brain's kind of fried, so ignore me if I have weird questions.
You're valid. Fried brain is a thing that happens. Oh, and I forgot to write out the name of the Conjurist that the guy in the Thieves Guild tavern told you about.
Yeah, I could not follow the last name when you said it.
It's Sandro Goth.
Oh, okay.
Like goth, but with an E on the end. Goth.
I thought it was Sandra, not gonna lie.
You do pick out in the group one who seems to be sort of, if not the leader, then the senior most member that people are kind of looking up to. And he is doing the inscribing thing at the moment. Doesn't notice you right away. Some of the other people do, but there are also like 3 people sort of coming up to him trying to get his attention, and he's just totally words
Like,
do be
zoned
going.
out in his own world.
Yeah. Single track mind focused on his writing.
Alright, if you guys want to be subtle about this, you have to tell me now, because I was planning on just going up and asking about it.
I don't think we need to be subtle.
So we just walk. I think we can just walk up to the guy and be like, "Hey, you know a Hugo Arnin?"
This guy, the other 2 or 3 people who are standing nearby kind of like look at you all startled. One of them starts to try to nudge him with their foot, and he still doesn't notice you until you say that name, and then he like looks up, jumps back, and goes, "Who's asking?" And he's like shaking with fear, and you're like,
Oh God.
incredibly nervous guy.
Adventurers Guild, I guess.
Oh, well, okay then. What were you looking to know? He gets up and kind of brushes himself off and stands to face you, and you notice he has this like intense slouch. Just a total lack of physical self-confidence.
Big mood.
Yep. This guy is just generally a big mood.
Gosh, what do we want to know?
That sure is a question, isn't it?
Probably where he is, or his whole like why he left the group, where we might find him. Howler is not going to be doing the asking because that's sort of the secret we have right now for leverage.
I'm just gonna start off saying, what can you tell us about him?
He's like, oh, well, he and I used to be very good friends, but he just had to go looking into time things, and we told him that was a bad idea, but no, he just had to go look into it further, and then before we knew it, he was caught up in this cult shit and left all of us behind. Not bitter or anything.
Can you tell us more about the cult stuff?
Why are you asking? I recognize that you're from the Adventurers Guild, but why does anybody want to know about that?
We've had a few run-ins with the cult. We're trying to...
You just totally cut out after saying we're trying to...
disband it, sorry.
Oh, well.
Interesting fill-in-the-blank experiment.
Yeah, we're trying to... what are you trying to do?
Whatever the DM thinks is best.
That's a scary power to give me. I already have a lot of power as the DM. I don't need that one too. He's like, well, good luck trying to disband it. Never saw a lot of them. They certainly do try to keep to themselves, but the rumors do go around. Should never have gotten involved in that. But alas, here we are. I assume he's been using the King's resources for his research. Between you and me, I suspect that calamity a couple years ago did have something to do with the cult, but that's just because I don't think that the chasms in the forum could have been caused by anything other than magic. But of course, no one's listening to me on that. But I don't know. I don't know what there really is to say about Hugo. He's just... I assume they're using him for something. But I just wish he would see some sense and get out of there.
Why don't you guys like time stuff?
Because it's dangerous and meddlesome, and any time somebody has tried to mess with time, it has ended very horribly for them. At least in our group here.
Wait, when you say mess with time, you have some sort of spell or artifact to do that with?
Oh, people have just been experimenting with spells for a while. I've never heard of an artifact that could do that. There might be one, but... No. That's what we do. We experiment and try to improve upon the conjuration school. So we're a school here.
Is that what you were doing that everybody got so upset about?
People are upset?
I'm trying to subtly ask about what that guy was talking about with the... They conjured something people didn't like.
Oh.
But I think I did a bad job.
Okay. He's still going to be completely clueless. People are upset? I mean... Oh, well... We did have something that we conjured the other day that we haven't been able to get it to go back where it came from, but...
Should we be concerned?
Oh, quite possibly. These things rarely end well, but they do usually end. Have you seen those, weird vultures over the forum? You have indeed seen the weird vultures over the forum. They're kind of hard to miss.
Thank you for that clarification. I was gonna ask.
You, Aradia, were kind of on edge about them because of what the guy in the tavern said. But honestly, everyone else was just kind of giving them a side eye and largely ignoring them because, you know, once you've got a chasm that just opened up out of nowhere in your forum, vultures are just another weird thing. But you did notice they were kind of annoying people. Yeah.
What about them?
Oh, well, it isn't exactly what we conjured the other day, but I suspect they have something to do with it, and I suppose people are getting a little annoyed at their presence. But I don't know what to do about them. I assume the magic will just kind of take them away eventually. Or they'll just become part of the scenery here and no one will think anything of it anymore.
That seems kind of dangerous, doesn't it?
I mean, most things we do are dangerous. Magic is not for the faint of heart.
This person is not making me feel better every time you speak.
He
Yeah,
has.
like if they're mages,
I'm sorry, what, Maya?
like they know fireball, they can deal with these vultures, right?
Probably.
So what are the vultures exactly?
I don't know. We summoned some toad-like goblin things, and soon after they vanished from our little garden here. I say vanished, more like ran away. They didn't disappear in a magical sense. The vultures appeared the next day, so I don't know. They're connected somehow, I suspect. They have the same weird white and red coloration thing going on. But
Instead, a toad goblin looking thing?
yeah, a toad goblin looking thing. Rather hard to describe. Just like round with goblin faces.
Would any of us know about more about these things that they're talking about?
Yeah, do they sound familiar?
Nope.
Yeah, out of character, the only thing I can think of that sounds like that is it's like qual.
Out of character, these are homebrew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like bullywugs, which are like toads that function like goblins, but they have no goblin characteristics besides being short and like their own ears.
When you first said you didn't know what the vultures were, I thought you were saying that as the DM, and I was like, wait.
Oh no, I know what the vultures are. Sandro does not know what the vultures are. Sandro is kind of an idiot and has totally lost his marbles.
Yeah, I can kind of tell. It's starting to concern me. Like, in character, I'm like, can we, like... I'm thinking of, like, getting them fined or something.
Not entirely sure how much use he's going to be to you guys, because you managed to dig up a significant amount of information that he might have given you just by looking into other things and talking to other people. So, there is that.
I'm just gonna take a long shot and ask if he knows anything about the missing princess.
Okay. He looks rather startled and says, well, no more than anybody else knows. She was in the forum when the, thing happened. People are calling it the cataclysm. I suppose that's a fair assessment of what happened, but she fell into one of the things. I heard that they never found any bodies or anything. That they've been sort of sending people down there carefully, very carefully, and, trying to dig around in there, find what happened to she or any of the other people who fell in, but there's been no sign of them, which is why the king is so obsessed with finding her, because it would be one thing if she had the closure that her daughter had just died, but we don't know that she died. I mean, we assume it was 2 years ago, but Most people have kind of just moved on, but the king isn't willing.
The cataclysm happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When exactly did Hugo start messing with time in the cult?
Well, he started messing with time a little before then, of his own volition amongst us here. Some of the others here helped him in some of his experiments early on. I helped him in some of his experiments early on. But then, when we kind of realized where his curiosity was leading him, he had this obsession with just, I don't know, finding a way to travel through time and use it to his advantage somehow, and we started trying to talk him out of it. And then the cataclysm happened, and shortly thereafter, the cultists approached him, and before I knew it, he was worming his way into the royal court.
Nope.
We've been talking.
Friends.
So did he leave for the cult? Was this before or after the cataclysm?
Just after.
After, okay.
So even if the cult and magic and whatnot were behind it, Hugo didn't start it. Unless he was involved much earlier than I thought he was.
What were the experiments that he was doing? What did it look like when they happened? What did they achieve?
Well, most of them were failures, to be quite honest. He tried to open some portals, but none of them worked. It was much like any other conjuration, bring a thing from another place, except he was trying to bring a thing from another time to begin with.
Okay. Is there like a some kind of like library or some place that keeps like historical records of this place?
No, not really. We write down what we discover in our spell books, and any failures
No,
we just
I mean
kind of...
of just of the city.
Oh, of the city.
Yeah.
The church might have some records of the city. It's
Okay.
been around the longest, and they do keep records of some things, so...
Would any of the out of character, would any of his like order members know more about this stuff than him?
It seems unlikely. Of course, there's no, like... Sorry, words just totally failed. Brain just blanked hardcore.
I like just checked the time and it's 9:30 and I was like, what?
Yeah. We have been online for almost 2 hours. Stream's been live for almost 2 hours, so... Yeah. We may take a break here shortly, just because I need a break for a moment. And sometimes a break is nice. I could use more tea. Anyway, yeah, so Sandro is, like, the longest standing member and was Hugo's closest friend, and I don't think I've been able to convey that through the dialogue, but I think you would have been able to get that sense just by like, being there, that no one else seems to know, as they're sort of listening in on the conversation, any more than Sandro is telling you.
feel like we don't need any more information about him, but like, I do kind of want to be like, is there anything we can do to, I don't even know. Because they're kind of just conjuring random dangerous creatures and letting them roam around the city, which I feel like
This
is a
is
bad
not-
idea to just let be.
I mean, yeah. It's also not the norm. So, there is that.
I don't know enough about your world to know if we can do anything besides like fight them.
I mean, you could go fight them.
That feels counterproductive though.
Why?
That's a good question.
Going and clearing out the mistakes of irresponsible people doesn't seem counterproductive to me.
Oh, I meant fight the Conjurists to
Oh.
get them to stop.
I mean,
Oh,
again, how is that how does that counterproductive? I mean, it might be counterproductive in the fact that they probably have some conjuration knowledge that no one else in the world has. But I don't know, if you want to fight them, it probably wouldn't be a terribly hard fight. If you're, like, sizing these people up for fighting, they seem rather squishy for wizards.
I mean, it also feels like it wouldn't solve the problem, I guess is what I meant by counterproductive.
No, it probably will not solve the problem.
I guess we'll just have to bring it up with the king later or something.
Yeah.
I feel like this is gonna come back to bite us. Just leaving them alone.
You think?